see us, right?
Yeah, they see us.
They see us.
Welcome, welcome, ladies and goddamn gentlemen. Look, welcome to the King and I Life podcast. We are going through goddamn life difficulties and technical BS right now, but it's your boy Soul Toucher the Poet with my family.
It's your girl Phoenix in the house.
Son Solex up in here.
Look, follow us on whatever podcast platform that you subscribe to. Um, y'all go ahead and finish the rest of that. I can't think right now.
Yes, yes. You guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and please, by all means, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe. Help us get into the algorithms. Thank you to myself. But anyway, you guys can also. Why the fuck is
Uh,
my tongue being tied up today? But anyway, you can also hit us on King and I 369 at gmail.com. Again, that's KINGANDEYE 369 at gmail.com. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, if you have some topic suggestions, or you just want to say, hey, that's our email address. So hit us up.
And y'all know we out here in these social media streets. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So you can come visit us and drop us a line there too.
For
yes,
sure.
indeed. Yes, indeed. So today, um, finally getting this damn topic off the books.
Yes, this one has been on the books for a very long time.
A long time. We are going to be talking about mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Um, Look, this is one of those goddamn topics that affects a lot of goddamn people all over the world.
Yes, sir.
So pregnancy occurs in our society at an alarming rate. For the sake of this conversation, we are going to focus on individuals who make a conscious choice to have sex. And as a result of this choice, whether it was responsible or reckless, a child is conceived. In a lot of these situations, the individuals are either too young, not mentally or financially prepared for being a parent, or they are in a situation where one parent decides they are not cut out for the job. This is where you have these split decisions of that's your baby. Oh no, it's not. I'm gonna take a test. I'm gonna make you take a test. So let's jump into it. Let's jump into it, y'all.
Let's get
For
it.
sure. So, is it wrong for a woman to tell a man she's pregnant or that she had his child?
You mean is it wrong for a woman not to tell a
Yes, I skipped that part.
Okay. I was like, wait.
man? One of them days, ladies and gentlemen, but we gonna
Yes,
get
it
through
Yeah,
is
it.
yeah.
definitely one of those
We
days.
gonna get through it.
Um, is it wrong for her not to? I think it just depends on the circumstance. I feel like every man should have the right to know that they have produced a seed, but some circumstances you know who you're dealing with and you know how it's gonna go. So it is what it is. Mm, my personal view, I feel like it's wrong. I feel like you should tell him.
Mm,
I think that is his right to know. Um, that is my personal view on that.
mm.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one. Um, I'll say she should tell, the father that, she's expecting. But I get there are certain circumstances where it's probably best that a father shouldn't know. And the only reason I say that is when you have an abusive uh, male figure in your life that's not going to be a legit positive influence on that child, meaning he is someone who's very destructive, whether it be drugs or the life he lives or um, he's an abusive person or things along that line. That's the only reason I could see not telling the child, because the influence that that person would have on that child would be devastating throughout that child's life.
Hmm.
So that's the only reason, again, that's the only reason I would see not informing the father.
Okay, so when I look at this question, this particular question right here, and I relate it to the topic, um, I agree. It depends on the situation, um, because at the end of the day, if the two individuals are not married, it's straight up mama's baby. Um, Hopefully, it's a situation where she's not highly promiscuous and is unsure who the daddy is. But when it comes to this one, I feel like if she decides to get pregnant by a dude and there is no long term goal for them to be together, um, it's whatever the situation is. Um, Now, if these two individuals, whether there's long term goal or not, and they are explicitly knowing that a child could come out of this, I think she should tell. Overall, I think she should tell. Now, if this woman is just out to get a baby and no strings attached, then it is what it is. But I think she should tell.
All right.
So, is there an ideal time or situation to inform? Okay, someone, anyone, anyone,
Well,
Bueller,
it
Bueller.
just depends. Bueller.
Oh boy.
Anyway, that goes also to situation. If you are with that person and you know that y'all are in it, whenever you tell, it's gonna be great. Now, if you with somebody that you think might gonna be like, I don't want no baby. What you thinking about? You gonna have to think that situation out and time that correctly, so it doesn't blow up into what you telling me for. It ain't none my baby.
Mm.
You know, you're going to have to know the person that you're pregnant by, um,
Yeah.
and that's going to determine your anytime happy or your, ooh, let me make his favorite meal tonight and let me buy a case of beer.
Suck the meat off the bone.
You know, it all of that just is about you knowing your partner. If you know your partner, then you're gonna you're gonna know if you have to do correct timing or wait on timing, or you can just be like pee on a stick and call them at work and be like, guess what? I am with child. So it's just about you knowing. It's
Mm.
about you just knowing.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, this is it's not a it's this is really a no brainer. As far as ideal time or situation to inform, that goes along with knowing who you laying up with. But at the end of the day, if people know people know the circumstances in which they are having sex and the implications of it. Um, and I think that when she knows, she should tell when she finds out. I don't agree with that. Oh, I was waiting for the right time and blah blah blah. But again, definitely know who you laying up with. But as soon as you know, you should be like, hey, this is what it is. What are we going to do? Because I feel like the ideal time is right away, just in case you gotta iron some things out. Um, I'll just leave it right there for now because I'm pretty sure whatever else I got to say about that is going to come up later.
Son.
The way I see it is this, right? Um, some may say, I want to wait until the right time, but I get both of you guys' angle. On one foot, it's kind of like you have to know who the fuck you're dealing with. You have to know, what kind of response you're gonna get. Meaning, did you have it planned, or was it unplanned, or was it one of those we just fucking?
Mm.
So with that type of situation, then if you just fucking immediately, just tell them immediately. Um, I don't give a damn if it's over a damn glass of milk. Go and get it out there. If it's one of those situations where it's planned, if you want to take your time and make it a big deal as far as a surprise, um, cool, do it like that. If it's one of those situations where it was uh, not planned to the situation of we wanted kids but just not right now, then yeah, you might want to cook them a good meal, put that beer off to the side, and
Mm.
take them by the hand and say, well, we're going to expand the family a little bit sooner than what we're planning to.
Mm.
Yes.
Something like that.
Something like that. Agreed.
But sending a text message talking about, hey, you got a baby you got to take care of. I don't think that's appropriate. You
Definitely
got a
should
baby on the
always be
way.
a face to face.
Yes,
And
yes.
if it's where somebody just pretty much kind of knowing they dodging you, then at least over the phone. I don't think it should ever be a text unless it's just they just don't want to cooperate to hear the news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know
But
this trend now where the chicks are just sending pictures of the pregnancy
Sonograms
test.
and shit.
Yeah,
you ain't even hooked up.
those things,
Okay, I'm
pregnancy
sorry.
tests and stuff like that. Like, hey,
Mm.
Don't do it like that. Don't do it like
yeah,
that.
Mm.
don't do it, ladies. Don't do that.
So do women take into consideration the impact of not telling the child?
Oof.
I
Oof.
don't know. I think that if you're in a small knit community, it's probably impossible. Once that child is able to understand, it's gonna come out. Just simply because adults talk around children and children talk to each other. So
Mm-hmm.
at some point, you're gonna get the question. If you live in a big old city where paths are not gonna cross, I don't think it. I don't really think it would be too much of a big deal. My whole thing on that is I think the children should know because they're out there in the world without us. So what if they run into their first cousin that they have no idea is their first cousin because you ain't told them who they belong to? I think it's wrong for children not to know their lineage. I just think it's wrong all the way around.
So being a child of this shit, I think is a. I don't think when some women don't think, some women don't give a damn, some women um are embarrassed, some women don't know how. It's so many reasons, but I and I can say for my situation only, I personally don't think my mother considered the impact it had on would have on me. Um, and I say that because I was told lie after lie after lie, even into my goddamn adulthood. So for me, I can say she ain't take into consideration the impact it would have on me, or that it had on me overall. Um, and to this day, we've never had that conversation because the few conversations that we've had, I'm like, I don't want to hear this bullshit out your mouth. That's just how I felt about it.
I think that, some women don't take it into consideration, to be honest with you. They kind of have their own idea of, how they want things to go. and they pretty much take it out of the hands of the father, and put it in their hands. I think that's wrong. Again, depending on the situation, but you didn't lay down and make that damn baby by yourself.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
I think a
well,
child should be informed, even if that child can't be in that father's life or vice versa, whatever the situation may be. At least that child knows I do have a father. I do know who that father is. But for whatever reason, they can't be in each other's life, then at least
I,
they know what's what.
I can understand that.
Mhm.
Well, with me, I mean, I had a dad growing up. But when I turned 10, I was informed that I was adopted. And the reason that I was informed was because my biological father came back and all of a sudden he wanted access to me. But the way he treated my mother when she was pregnant and right after I was born, even though my mother felt like he didn't deserve to be in my life because another man had been taking care of me practically my whole life.
Mhm.
Um, she didn't object to him meeting me and me meeting
Right.
him. She literally left it up to me. I met him. Hey, how you doing? It's cool. And um, I just I understood. He was a alcoholic. By the time he came back around me, he was an alcoholic, uh, and he really just didn't have his life together. He was back living at home with his parents, and it was just he just wasn't where he should have been in life to be navigating a kid. Um,
Right.
Right.
Even though he was in that state, my mother never said, "Hey, you can't go around him. Hey, I'm gonna keep y'all apart. Hey, she's not gonna meet you. She's still not gonna know you." She gave all of that to me, and she said, "It's up to you."
Mm.
And I remember thinking, "Okay, it was cool to meet you," but in my mind, I was like, "I have a dad. I
Mm.
get
Right.
it. I got a dad. It was nice to meet you. Go on your merry way." Um, he was really, mm, he was really adamant about being a part of my life, but for 10 years you weren't. You knew that I was in the world,
Mm.
and you never tried to make contact with me before that. The only reason you were trying to make contact with me when I was 10 was because you just happened to be moving back to the same city that I was in. It was just an
Mm.
opportunity um, for
Right.
you. And I remember this thinking, I'm straight. And I was
Mhm.
literally straight. I I literally would have preferred to not know at all. So,
Wow. So let me ask you this then. With your particular situation, your father moving back to the same location or same city that you're in,
mhm.
do you think there was something that triggered him as far as like he woke up to the fact that, hey, I do have this child in this world. My child needs to know me, even though I'm probably not the best example of a father or a father figure. At least she knows that I exist.
No.
Do
Um,
you?
I think that it was to the point where he and his family just absolutely could not deny me anymore because that's what they were doing. When my mother was pregnant with me, they told my mother it wasn't his. Um, when my mother had me, they told my mother, "Oh no, that's definitely not his because this family doesn't produce little girls." Mind
What
you,
the
he
hell?
has two sisters and some nieces at this point, but
Wow.
um,
That's
but it
crazy.
was literally denial, denial, denial. But as I got older, I started to look just like him.
Hmm.
I think that it was just if I don't step up and say, hey, this is my kid, how is it going to look? Because it's a small town. And
Mm-hmm.
it's how they were big on appearances, especially that
Right.
particular family. I think it was more of a how would it look kind of thing. Because the older I got, the more I looked like him. Um, so much so that I think I was, he died when I was 16. Um, and I went to the funeral. So I met him when I was 10. He died when I was 16. I went to the funeral, even though I hate going to funerals. I did go. Um,
Hmm.
and I remember distinctly that they had an argument that they thought I didn't hear about
Mm-hmm.
me riding in the family car.
Wow,
They didn't even want me to ride in the family car.
that's crazy.
Um, and then my name is not spelled correctly in his obituary because they had no idea what my name is. They didn't have a clue.
Wow.
And
Mm.
instead of them just asking my mother or my grandmother, they just put it in there how they thought it was, what they thought it was. Not even my name. My name is Kimberly. They put Kim space Lee. Kim
What?
Lee. Yeah, Kim Lee.
Mm.
So I didn't have any contact with his family for a very long time after he passed. And then one day, one of my cousins, because it's several of my cousins that I got along with, and we knew we were cousins, and we talked. We still do to this day. But one of my
Hmm.
cousins came and they and told me at the family meeting, they were like, "We cannot deny this girl any longer. She looks just like him." So they started to try and reach out to me here and there. If y'all don't move around somewhere, one thing I can say about my dad that raised me, those are my aunts and those are my uncles because that's all I know. They've always treated me like family,
Mm.
always. So I don't think that it was because he had this epiphany that he wanted to be a father and know me. It was a I don't want to look like the bad guy in this town that we come from because I'm moving
Right.
back there. And I don't want to look like the jerk. Well, you are the jerk,
Mm.
jerk.
Mm.
Damn
Mm.
it. Wow, that's interesting.
Man. Yeah. That is and and the only thing other thing I can add to that is um if you're a child of a situation like this, if you've been lied to your entire life, um it's kind of a slap in the face to the child because it's like they've been lied to all this time, and then if that father is not even worthy of meeting the child, then it's like in a situation like that, it's like why even bother with the BS now?
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, again, I was lied to my entire life, and up, and I met him when I was 25, and just like Phoenix, all right, I met you. I met him. What was it like 95, 96 when I met him? He passed away in 2007, and you know, as much as it bothered me that I didn't know him, it bothered me more after I met him because he was a drug addict, and the little shit that he was doing or attempting to doing was something that you do with a child that's like 7, 8 years old, and I'm sitting there looking like I can't rock with this. So it was like, hey, all right, whatever.
Man, that is, I don't know, that's deep, man, because the thing about it is, I look at my life and you know, being in my son's life and how much I cherish that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, literally cherish every fucking second. So to hear, both of you guys' story about, how your lives unfold when you were young. That shit is, I don't know. It's kind of heartbreaking, but at the same time, to look at you both and to see you at this stages in your life, to you weather the storm, as they say, you know.
I technically really didn't have a storm though, in that situation because my dad, who is my dad, has always been there.
Right.
So I never had a void. I grew up in a home with a dad, a caring dad and a providing dad. Like he was always there. Right now, my daddy is still always there. He has been my rock throughout my life, even when I didn't, being a rebellious teenage girl and being in love for the first time. Um, Taking my parents through what I took them through during that period, my dad always let me know that he loved me and that after you finish making these terrible decisions, I'm going to be here to dust you off and put a band aid on your boo boo. So
Right.
and my dad he's different because he didn't grow up in a family where they express love and affection. So his ideal of showing it and letting you know is very different. Um, we didn't get the hugs and the kisses from dad. That's not what he did. He was a provider, and that's what equaled love. If he is providing and doing, that is him letting you know that he loves you. Um, so I didn't really have to weather a storm where there was a father figure concerned, and that's what I tell people. I grew up in a house with my daddy. I always have my daddy. I can call my daddy right now. Right now, I can tell you exactly how he answers the phone every time I call him. You all right, baby? Every single time. You all right? Not a hello, not a hey. Are you all right? So I didn't have to weather a storm on that end. I'm grateful that a man stepped up and stood there. Um, I remember my great grandmother told me sometimes you have somebody to plant the seed, but they not fit to take care of it and nurture it and grow the seed. So that's when you
Hmm.
get a gardener.
Right.
So I always think about that. Um, the seed was planted by someone else, but the gardener that took care of the seed and nurtured the seed and grew the seed, best in the world.
That's a very enlightening way of looking at it. The way she phrased that, I've never heard it put quite that way before. It sounds like
Gotta
real wisdom, as they say.
gotta remember I was only
Um,
10. She had to put it somewhere where I could understand it. Put it in my pocket.
right,
True that. True
for
that.
sure. So, what about how the father would feel if he found out from someone else? Do you think that would impact how he would digest the situation? So
It's
you guys stay tuned, and we will answer that question when we come back.